Good morning, everyone. How's it going today? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be creating exactly this application that you see right here, which is a Tinder image generator. And what it does is that it takes one prompt of yours so that you can describe how you want your Tinder picture to be like. You upload a picture and then you click on generate image, and it's going to generate an image based on your prompt for Tinder. And also very important, you can bring your own Google API keys for this so that you don't have to pay extra for this. And there you go, you have the picture right there. If you want the online version of this, and if you don't care about actually building it yourself, you can check the online version of this. It's available in the description. If you want to see the code, you can click on the repo right there in the description, which is also available. So without any further ado, let's start building this. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to start to set up our development environment. And in my case, I'm going to be doing this with UV. Now, UV, in case you're not familiar with it, it is probably the best package manager for Python. As of now, if you do not have it installed, feel free to click the link in the description. There is the instructions on how to install it right there. It's literally just a command that you have to run depending on your operating system. And once you have it installed, you're going to do UV init, and then you're going to name your project. In my case, I'm going to call it Tinder-gen app. And there we go. And after that, we're going to open it in our IDE. In my case, I am using trades, so I'm going to go to Tinder-gen like this, and there we go. And here we are back at our IDE. In this case, the project that was set up by the UV command looks like this. So we have a very simple README right here. We have our PyProject.toml, which is here to replace the requirements.txt file. We have a main.py file, which is the one that is going to be our entry point. We have our Python version and a very quick git ignore. Now, what we're going to want to do first is we're going to want to install the dependencies that we're going to need. And in this case, we're going to be needing Streamlit and google-genai. So in order to do this, all you'd have to do is UV add. And in my case, I'm going to do UV add Streamlit like this and google-genai like this. Now, as you can see, UV is incredibly fast as installing pretty much the whole thing. And there we go, everything is installed, and now we can actually start building our application. All right, so the first thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to come right here to my entry point, which is main.py. And in here, we're going to first import the dependencies that we're going to need to actually build this application. And the first one that I'm going to need is Streamlit, of course. In case you're not familiar with it, Streamlit is just a Python library that allows you to create user interfaces with very little code. And that's what we're going to be doing right here. Once we have Streamlit, what we're going to do is we're going to initialize the page, and we're going to do it just like this. So we're going to set page config, and the page title is going to be Tinder app. Page icon, tada apparently. Let's see what that is. We're going to get the layout wide because the Streamlit applications usually have a very tight layout. So we want it to be wide so that we can have both pictures side by side. Then we're going to add st title to add the title of the page, Tinder-gen app, and then just a little subtitle, welcome to the Tinder-gen app. We're going to save this, and let's actually execute it to see what is here so far. So I'm going to run Streamlit run, and we're going to call my main.py. But since in my case I am using UV, I want to run anything that I want to run. I want to run it from my UV environment. So in order to do that, I'm going to just do UV run and then whatever I want to run. So UV run, Streamlit run, main.py. I'm going to execute that. That way it's going to run that. And here we go. We have the application, Tinder-gen app. Welcome to the Tinder app. Now it's time to start building the sidebar, this one right here. We're going to put it right here, okay? Let's get right into that. All right, so the next thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to add a sidebar right here. And in order to do that, all you're going to have to do is you're going to tap into this Streamlit component called sidebar like this. And we're going to say with Streamlit sidebar. And right here, we're going to just initialize our configuration. And we're going to just set a header. We're going to call it settings. Why not? And we're going to add an API key right here. And in order to add an API key, we just initialize the API key variable and we set it equal to st.textInput. This is going to just give us our text input like that. Right here, you enter the label of the text input, which in this case is going to be enter your API key. The type is going to be password, so that when you fill out anything, it actually turns into little dots instead of actually showing your API key. And very importantly, something else that we want to do is we want to set a key for this one. So let's just set a key for this one. It's going to be called API key like this. This is going to be important because it's going to allow us to keep the API key in the session state. If you're not familiar with what the session state is or how to use Streamlit in general, feel free to take a look at my other video, which is a complete course on Streamlit, which is right here in the description and also probably somewhere right here. But if it's not right here, it's going to be in the description. It's a very clear and detailed Streamlit course. And once you have that API key, we're going to say that if there is an API key, what we're going to do is we're going to set our environment variable to that API key, setting Google API key equals to this new API key. And then we're just going to show a success message like this. In Streamlit, st.success is essentially just a green tab with a nice text that says success. If it does not include a key yet, we're going to just add a warning saying, please enter your API key to continue, or let's say to use this app. And there we go. Now, if we save this, we go back right here. We're going to click on always rerun so that it re-renders. And here we have our API key element right here. So there we go. Now, the next thing that we're going to want to do is add the input for our images. So let's do that. All right, so the next thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to add these inputs right here. So we're going to add the text input, which is going to be the prompt that is going to define how you want your Tinder app, your Tinder image to be in the end. You're going to add some image input right here so that you can upload your own image. And then we're going to add the generate image button. And then afterwards, we're going to add this input and generated result columns. But first, let's focus on the inputs right here. And in order to do this, it's very straightforward. The first thing to do is to get out of the scope of our sidebar. So we just get out like this. And once we're here, what we're going to do is first initialize the prompt. So let's just say prompt. I'm just going to actually get out. The prompt is going to be equal to an st.textInput as well. In this case, let's actually make it a text area to make it larger. And this one right here is going to take just enter your prompt. It's going to be the label. And then from there, we're going to add just a placeholder. Why not? Placeholder. We're going to give it enter your prompt here. And then we're going to give it a height of, let's say, 200 pixels. And the key as well, very important. Remember that when you add a key, this value essentially becomes available via the Streamlit session state. So I'm going to show you how that works in just a moment. So in this case, I'm going to say this one, we're going to call it prompt input like that. There we go. Actually, let's add something a little bit more descriptive right here. Let's say, describe how you want to transform or generate the image for your Tinder profile. And there we go. That way, this is way more clear. And there we go. Now, next thing, now that we have the prompt, let's take a look at how that looks. The prompt looks like this. Perfect. Now we probably want to add that input for the files. So same thing, we're going to do uploaded files. And we're going to set it to st.fileuploader. Let me just move this up right here. File uploader. And this one right here, we're going to call it upload images. The type that it allows is going to be JPEG and PNG. We're not going to accept multiple files in this case. We're going to give it a key of, let's call it image uploaded files. Why not? And yeah, I guess this should be good. Let's just save this. And then last but not least, we're going to add the generate button. So generate button, and this one's going to be an ST button, and we're going to call it, let's just name it generate image like this. And the key is going to be generate button as well. We're going to say, let's see how this looks like. We have the button right here. Let's make it larger. Let's make it use container width to make it take the entire space right here. And let's give it a type of primary like this to make it red. There we go. Now the application starts to look like this one right here that we had before. Let's just add this little fire emoji right here. No, this one right here. Let's just add a little fire emoji right here. And we should, there we go. There we go, we have the inputs. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to add the layout of the columns to actually display the before and after images. All right, so now let's add the column layout. And in order to do this, we're going to just add column 1 and column 2. And we're going to set them equal to st.columns. And we're going to pass in the parameter 2. This essentially will return 2 different layout elements that you can use, and both of them are going to be the same width. If you want them to be of separate widths, you can just pass a tuple, for example, in which the first one is going to be, in this case, the first one would be twice as large as the first one. But since we want both to be the same width, I'm just going to leave it like this with 2. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say width column 1. And then whatever I put right here is going to be inside the first column. And I'm going to say first that if there are uploaded files, actually I'm going to call them more, something more straightforward. I'm going to call them uploaded image, because I'm only going to be uploading one, and the key is also going to be uploaded image. And right here, if there is an uploaded image, I'm actually first going to open it. So in order to open it, I'm just going to do image equals image like this. I'm going to say open. And right here, I am going to open the uploaded image like that. And then I'm just going to say st image, which will display the image with a caption saying uploaded image. And then we're just going to say that the width, use column width, set to true. Going to save this. I think this should work already. I would probably have to import the image object. So we're going to say from PIL import image. And I think I forgot to add the OS. So there we go. Now we can save this, and let's take a look at how it looks. Let's save this, and we're going to come right here and we're going to upload an image. So I'm going to be using this image right here again. And there we go, use column width has been deprecated. Okay, so I think there was a problem with my use column width. Let's just call it width like this. And we're going to say, we're going to call it stretch. I think that's the new way to do this. Let's take a look at it. Yes, the deprecation is gone. And there we go. Let's just add a header saying that this one right here is the input, uploaded image like that. Let's make it actually uploaded image. And now let's add the column 2 in this case. All right, so the next thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to add our second column, which is the one that is going to contain the generated image. And that means that we're going to have to add the logic to actually generate the image, which is to call the AI model that we're going to use in order to do this. And remember that I told you that we're going to be using Google's Gemini, which is the latest image generation model, aka Nano Banana. And we're going to also be using IO right here to actually interpret the result from the API. So what we're going to be doing is with the column number 2, the column 2, we're just going to open it, and we're going to just add a header like this saying the generate image. And we're going to say first, if the user has not clicked on generate button, then we're just going to right click the generate image button to generate an image. Else, what we're going to do is we're going to try to actually generate the image. And this is going to be inside a try except logic to actually just handle any errors that there may be. And we're going to wrap everything inside a spinner. Now, how a spinner works is basically whatever you put inside an ST spinner is going to display a spinner while the code inside the spinner is evaluated. And this is very useful when you're doing something very long processing task. So for example, generating an image in this case is probably going to take 4 to 5 seconds. And for user experience, you don't want the user to think that the application crashed for 4 seconds. So it's important to show that spinner right there to show that the application is actually processing something. So the first thing to do is to initialize our GenAI model like this. So we're going to say client equals GenAI.client, and then we're going to pass the API key like this. And the second thing to do actually is we're going to open the image using image open like this, and we're going to open the uploaded image. And from here, we're just going to call client.models.generateContent. And this one right here is going to take 2 parameters. The first one is going to be the actual model that we're going to be using, which is Gemini 2.5 Flash Image Preview. And that basically is the latest model by Google that allows us to generate the images that we have been generating lately. And then the contents is basically just a list with the prompt that you're using and the image. And that's basically all there is to it. Now, if that works, now we can actually tap into the response right here and get the image from it. Now, let me show you how to do that. But before that, let me just remind you that this is the model that we're using right here. So Gemini 2.5 Flash Image, also known as Nano Banana. I recently posted a video about this, an actual notebook where we go over multiple use cases. This video is of course more of a hands-on video, this one right here. But if you were interested in taking a look at the notebook, feel free to check that. It's either in the description or somewhere right here. There might be a link that pops up somewhere here. So in order to continue right here, what we're going to do is we're going to tap into the response right here. So how do we get into that one? Let's take a look at this. And there we go. So the first thing to do is just to get the image parts like this. So we're going to tap into the image parts of the response. And this is basically just the way to tap into the image object of the response, because the response is going to contain also text, but we only want the image in this case. And once that is done, we're going to want to open that. So if there are image parts, we're going to tap into those image parts, and we're going to take the first one. We're going to take the image. We're going to open that image object and open it like we have been doing before. If I remember correctly, yeah, everything is imported correctly. And then we're just going to show it just like that. Just like we did before, ST image shows the image in our Streamlit application. Very straightforward. If not, then we're just going to log an error right here. I don't think we have any other thing to do other than close the exceptions right here. So if there are any errors, we can just display them right here. And I think that we're pretty much done. So let's go back to the application and try to test it. Basically, I just pasted a very quick prompt right here. And then I have the same image right here. I have my API key. Then click on generate image. As you can see, we have this spinner that shows that the image is being generated. And now we should be able to display the generated image. Let's take a look at it. And there we go. The generated image is working correctly. Now we can tweak a little bit the prompt to take a look at how this actually works and how flexible this is. So let's say, and there we go. Okay, I just generated another prompt right here using ChatGPT. Very straightforward, of course, just to try to set this woman in the jungle instead. So let's take a look at how this works. So I'm going to generate the image again with this new prompt, and let's see what it returns to us. And there we go, looking good. Perfect. And there you go. You have effectively finished a complete Tinder image generation application that is working pretty well. And now you can add this to your portfolio, show it to your clients, to your friends, to your employer, or even use it for Tinder if you want. So thank you very much for watching. Remember that I have an AI community that you can join that is completely free. So if you have any questions about any of these videos or about AI, just drop a question right there and we'll be there to help you. Thank you very much for joining. It is, as usual, a great pleasure. Have a great day, and I will see you next time.